Apologies, we got cut off there. Storage issues. I gotta figure that out because this is gonna be a hinder. Um, and we don't like hinders, right? So where did I leave off? Yes, I said if it's not the point of you agreeing with me, it's the point of you not agreeing with him who sent me. The doctrine in which I hold is not my own, and I don't claim it as my own. The knowledge in which I have, I don't claim it as my own. I would never do that. Okay. The knowledge that has been given to me, first of all, let me say something, right? I've never been a preacher. I've never been a pastor. I've never had an assembly. I've never been to seminaries. I never went to school, to the theological schools. I've never been to any of those things. But Yahweh has called me to do this, right? I was chosen, handpicked specifically to do this. Okay. And if I was to give you a little bit of my history and who I am and, the backstory of my life and how I got to this point, you would be like, bro, who, what? It would boggle your mind how I'm still here. Okay. I had the cord wrapped around my neck when I was in the womb. I shouldn't have been here. That's one. Okay. The Most High preserved my life from birth. The enemy tried to take me out. The second bullet, I got shot 3 inches from my heart. When I got to the doctor, when I woke up in the hospital, the doctor was like, I don't know how this happened. You literally have just an exit, an in wound and an exit wound. That's it. He said it didn't puncture any arteries, it didn't damage any tissue. Well, it damaged some tissue, but it didn't damage any muscle or nothing. It just curved around your rib. I don't know how that happened. He couldn't explain it. Baptized at 5 years old. Went to my mother and I told her to baptize me. She looked at me crazy. Only if I can recreate the look that she gave me, but I can't do it. Only she would be able to do that look. But after my baptism, I was laying in my bed. This was a month later. I remember this like as if it was yesterday. Okay. I was laying in the bed. This is when we lived on Kenwood in Los Angeles, right? And I was laying on the bed. This is around the time my brother had chicken pox, and I was laying on the bed, and I'm going to sleep, but I'm not fully asleep yet, and all of a sudden it feels like something just sucked my soul out of my body, just sucked it out. Whoa, what the heck? Next thing you know, I'm looking down at myself in the bed. Next thing you know, something just sucks me up out of this realm. Okay? I completely leave this realm. I find myself in heaven, right in front of the crystal sea. In order to get to the gates of heaven, you have to cross the crystal sea, which the crystal sea, it relinquishes you from the dirt and filth of this world. As soon as I got out of the river, the crystal sea, as soon as I got out of it, okay, the first person I saw was the Messiah. That's the first person I saw. And I don't have no reason to make this up. I'm not going to sit up here and make anything up because I know the consequences of doing that. The first person I saw was the Messiah. And yes, he looked like us. And from behind him, a little girl steps out. Now, mind you, my mother had miscarriages in the past, but I knew of one of them. Her name was Jakarta. And when she walked up to me, I just knew who she was. I knew who she was. And I spoke with her for a little bit, and we didn't have too long of a dialogue because what the king needed me for was way more important. So he took me, and we walked around almost pretty much the entire heaven, and he just spoke to me. A lot of the stuff he said I can't remember. It's not for me to remember at this time. But some of the stuff he said I do remember. And I can go into the details of all the things that I saw, but that's pointless for what I'm trying to say. The next thing that happened is like it just we just teleported into a whole different realm. And when we get in this realm, it's darkness, like darkness, and it smelled. Oh my goodness! Oh, ooh, ooh. I don't know if you ever smelled urine, feces, sulfur, and a dead body wrapped into one smell. That's exactly what it smelled like. You can smell the flesh. You can smell the flesh burning. You can smell the oh my. You could smell the fecal matter. You could smell the urine. It was, oh my goodness, it's terrible. But the whole time I'm there, the king is at my right side. I'm on his left side, but he's on my right side. And I'm a little kid, like I said. And we're walking through this hallway, and it's just dark. And we're getting closer towards a lighted area, but this lighted area is not like light. It's like orangish red. Like you could tell like it's fire, bro. This is fire. And as we're walking through this hallway, there's beings that's chained to the walls. And these beings are so vile and evil. They have the most intense hate for us. The most intense hate. Calling me all kinds of names, stuff that I'm not going to repeat here. I saw people in pits. It's like pits. As soon as you leave the hallway where these beings are chained up, some of them were giants. Some of them weren't. Some of them were probably a little bit taller than me. Some of them were about 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet. Some bigger than that. This is a big place, okay? And as we get out of the hallway, we get into the area where the fire is. And all you see is pits, just pits. And you see people in these pits, okay? And these people are, it's all at the same time. They're all screaming and yelling at the same time, but it's like you can hear the individual voices. I don't know how. I can't explain that. You can hear the individual voices of these people, and they're saying, help me, save me. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Let me do it again. Let me try it again. I'll get it right next time. But what they didn't understand is it's a one-way ticket. It's a one-way ticket. I saw werewolves. I saw vampires. I saw creeping creatures, snakes. Uh, 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 I'm pretty sure you guys watched the movie Scorpion King. Scorpions as big as those. Centipedes and just nasty creeping creatures, unclean creatures. And then there's sections in hell. There's sections. And each section is, one section is for, women who have disrespected their marital vows. And for the women who have sold their bodies and things of that nature. Then you got another section where people just couldn't abstain from eating unclean foods. Then you have another section. Like I can go on and on, but the point of what I'm saying is this. I was called. I was called to do the work that I'm doing now. No, I don't have a degree. No, I don't have years of seminary. No, I don't have years of being a pastor or anything like that. But see, my calling doesn't depend on the degrees of this world. My calling is heavenly. My office is celestial. My office is from above. It's not from here. It's not here. You can believe me or you cannot. It's up to you. But just know that I told you. Just know that you heard the testimony of a seer, of a true seer, of a true uh, uh um of a true seer, true Nazar. I don't have time to sit here and lie to nobody, play games, and misdirect anybody because I know the consequences and I'm not willing to suffer that fate. Not for me lying, but guess what? I would suffer that fate on behalf of you. And if it were possible, I would trade places with you so you don't have to experience that. Because I value your soul more than mine. I value your eternal salvation more than mine. And there's many a nights I lay on this bed and I cry for you all. Literal tears. Sometimes I can't even pray, just tears come. Because you don't understand what you're doing. You don't understand the things you're saying. Let's get back to the message. I just felt in my spirit that I needed to share that with you. So let's get back to the message. Okay. So we're in Acts now, right? We're going to Acts chapter 17 and we're going to look at 22. Okay. Right? All right. 17, 22. Then it says, Shawal, watch this now. Then Shawal stood in the middle of Mars Hill. Mars is one of the pagan gods. And said, Men of Athens, which he's talking to the Israelites specifically. They considered themselves as Athenians. I perceive that in every way you are given to religious observances in the worship of your Alahayam, gods. For I passed by carefully observing your objects of worship, and I came upon an altar with this inscription: To the unknown God. Al in ancient Hebrew, El in the Israeli. Then he says that then is what you ignorantly worship, having no understanding. This I announce to you, Yahweh, who made the world and all things in it, being creator of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands. He doesn't. Now let's understand this, right? Because he's talking about this unknown God, okay? So we got to go back to the covenant and we got to look at it again because we got to see what the Most High is saying, okay? What does he say? Let's look at chapter 20, Exodus, verse 3. You shall have no hinder gods, Alahayam, at all. They are in opposition against me, okay? Now I want to precept that with some more of the Most High's words directly from his mouth, okay, given to the prophets of old, the ones who came before me. This is what he says. Pay attention. Please pay attention. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah 45 and verse passage 5. I am Yahweh, comma, and there is no other apart from me, period. There is no God, Alahayam, period. I will strengthen you with this knowledge, comma, though you did not recognize that it was me, hyphen. And I gave you the punctuation marks so you can see that he's declaring who he is and what he is not. Let's look at something else. Let's go to the Psalms, okay? Because I want you to see it. It's very important that you see it. If you want to really follow the Father wholeheartedly, loving him with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength, then it's important that you understand this, because these 4 commandments are the greatest of all commandments. And if these 4 commandments are not kept properly, then the next 6 mean nothing. Because if you can't love the Father correctly, then you can't love your brother correctly. Okay? So let's look at 19. Is it? I believe it is. Give me a second. Is it? So I don't think it's that one. No, it is in 119. It is in 119. So here in 119, pardon the interruption. Here in 119, we want to look at right here. Where is it? Help me out. I believe it's. Is it? Okay, if I can't find it in the next couple of seconds, then we're going to move on, because I don't want to hold you guys too long. We're already over, I believe, 45 minutes, and I didn't want to be too long with you. Because, I want you to be able to sit with these messages. I want you to sit with these 3 parts of the series during Pasach and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay? All right, so I can't find it right here at this moment, which I'm looking for it, but I don't see the heading that I'm looking for. Okay? But, okay, so we're just going to go back, right? All right, so Shawwal is noticing this inscription. We went back to Exodus and we saw the Most High, Yahweh, said, have no hinder gods, Alahayam, at all. Then we see Isaiah 45:5 mirroring what he said in Exodus, which is the same thing. So now I want to take you to Deuteronomy, okay? Because it's important that we go back and we completely examine what's being said. So this is Deuteronomy 32, okay? And I'm going to read specific parts for a reason, for a purpose, because I want you to see something, right? So we're going to do 32, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17. And it says they sacrifice to demons, gods, Alahayam. Okay, now watch this because I don't want you to think that I'm making this up. Okay, you see it right here. Let me. Okay, can you see that? It says Alahayam and it says gods. And you see both of those are in parentheses. So this means they are the same thing. And you see the word demon there too. Demons, okay? So the same word, like I said, that's used for gods is used for demons, okay? It says they sacrifice to demons, gods, Alahayam, which are not of Yahweh. What did he say? They are in opposition against me, okay? He says, which are not of Yahweh, to gods, Alahayam, they did not know. Going back, what did he say? To the unknown God, that then is what you ignorantly worship, having no understanding. Then what does he say? To gods, Alahayam, newly come up. To gods, Alahayam, Tarafayam, which Tarafayam or Teraphim in the Israeli is a physical idol, right? Like the stone statues of, Baal they used to make and all of these different things. This is that, okay? And he says, your fathers did not worship. Talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They didn't worship those things. They didn't worship Alahayam. They didn't worship Elohim. They didn't worship Elua. They didn't worship God. They did not worship Lord. They worshiped Yahweh. The name was known from the beginning because in the J source or the Y document, it literally says Yahweh. It says in the beginning, Yahweh created the heavens and the earth. So this is where this book comes in, the book that I just showed you that I'm reading from is the what would be considered the J source. This right here came from Israel. Literally came from Israel. Where's the address? It says Kotel Editions. Kotel, okay? Kotel Editions. It's the Western Wall, okay? So this book came from Israel. But we find it interesting when we look at this book, when we open it up to Genesis, we go to the very first page of Genesis. It says, in the beginning, Barashit, Elohim bara. This is the E document, okay? And behind this phone here is the priestly document. And here, this is the D document. This is the Deuteronomic document, the 1611 King James, okay? So you have to trace the sources. You have to trace the documents to be able to go back to the original. And once you understand that this, which uses the title Elohim in the Israeli, but in the ancient Hebrew, Alahayam, this came from the northern kingdom. This came from the northern kingdom. This came from Afarayam or Aparayam, which is Ephraim. Ephraim is responsible for this E document. E for Ephraim. Y document for Yahweh. Don't it make sense? Okay, let's get this, right? Watch this. Then we're going to skip, he says what? So that was verse 17 or passage 17. We're going to skip down to verse 20. And then we're going to look at verse 39. We're going to do 20 through 22, and then we're going to do 39. Then he says what? He said, this is Yahweh speaking, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a perverse generation, children of whom is no faith. What does Shawwal say? You do this ignorantly because you lack understanding. You don't understand properly. And the same thing he was saying back then is the same thing that I'm saying now. It's no different. When Shawwal and the apostles' mission finished, somebody had to pick up the torch. The torch had to be passed to someone. And I'm here carrying out the same flame, the same consuming fire. I'm carrying it out right now. So this is what it says. Watch. This is what? Verse 21, passage 21. He says, they provoked me to jealousy by that which has no power. They provoked me to anger with their worthless alahayam. Come on, man. If this is in the Y source, which, like I explained, when the popes and the Vatican had the scholars come in and sit down with the Hebrew text, what they did is they mixed and meshed, they blended all of the documents together. They blended the two documents together. This is how they ended up getting the priestly document. They blended the Y document with the E document. They blended it. So when you see it in the Sefer Bible, it says the name of the father, a variation of the father's name, and the title. And like I've explained to you before, putting those two things together is blasphemy. That's error. We have been given the spirit of truth, not error. And sometimes this makes me question, do people really have the true Rawak Yahweh? Because the spirit of Yahweh searches all things. Yes, the deep things of Yahweh. And this is a deep thing. This is a great secret. And I'm handing it over to you. Because it's not just for me to hold on to. It's for me to give it to you. Then he says what? He says they provoked me to anger. They provoked me to jealousy, by that which has no power. They provoked me to anger with their worthless Alahayam, gods. I will make them jealous by those who are not a people. I will provoke them to anger by a people that has no understanding. So when these scholars came in to the Vatican and to the Pope, they didn't have no real understanding, because if they did, they wouldn't have mixed all of the books together. But see, that was a tool of the enemy. That was a tool of Hashatan to create confusion, to further separate you and further sever you from your Father who is in heaven. Watch this. Then he says what? My anger has kindled a fire. It will burn to the grave below. Uh-oh. It will consume all the earth with all its harvest, and set afire the foundations of the mountains, which the mountains, every time you see mountains, when the Most High is speaking, he's not talking about physical mountains. He's talking about governments of the world. It's literally written here. Let me show you, so you don't think I'm making this stuff up. Look, it says governments. Where is it? Governments of the world. Okay? So then, we're going to look at 39. We're going to look at chapter 32, Deuteronomy, passage 39. And then he says, see that I, only I am he, and there is no God, with me. Me, I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. There is no God who is equal and like me. No God. And he told you in Isaiah 45:5 that there is no God. The only God there is the devil. That's the only God that there is. Okay? So now, let's move on. Let's look at Romans. Look at Romans chapter 8. And this is the last thing, and I'm gonna make my exit here. This is Romans, okay? Going back this way. This is Romans chapter 8. Dang, that's crazy. Right up on the page. Right up on it. Ain't that something? I love when the Most High do that. So this is chapter 8, Romans, passage 15, and we're going to start at 15. We're going to end up at 17, okay? He says, for you did not receive the spirit of bondage again to fear. The spirit of bondage or captivity is Alahayam. And a lot of our people are bound to those titles. They're bound to those words. They're bound to those terminologies. But you have received, but you have gotten, you received the spirit of adoption, sonship, by which we cry out, Abba, or in the ancient Hebrew, Ab, which is A-B, Father. Look at the life and the walk of the Messiah. What was his prayer that he prayed, the outline prayer that he gave? What was the first thing he said? The second word he said was Father. He said, our Father. If he was a God, you wouldn't think he would have said our God, our Elohim. No, he didn't say that. He said our Father. He always referred to the Most High Yahweh as Father. And if we're to walk in his footsteps, then we should carry on the same thing. Yahweh's spirit, which is Rawak Yahweh, itself testifies with our spirit. Guess what? This book here is Rawak Yahweh. Because it is literally the breath of Yah. It's the breath of Yahweh. It's the Rawak, they say in Israeli Ruach, of Yahweh. So then it says what? Yahweh's spirit itself testifies with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh. And if children, then heirs. Heirs of Yahweh. And joint heirs with Yahweh Shah. Since we suffer with him, in order that we may also be glorified with him. Come on, man. We don't have time to play games no more. We don't have time to be pulled and have one foot in, one foot out. Either you all in or you all out. Ain't no in between. There is no what they call purgatory. There is no bosom of Abraham there. There is no compromisation. You can't have this and hold on to this. You can't say the Most High's name and then hold on to this title. You can't do that because you are violating and breaking the covenant when you do that. And many will probably argue with me in what I'm saying, but here, this is what I have for you. This is what I have for you. This is Yahweh or Jude. It says, but these speak evil of those things which they do not understand, but what they know naturally, instinctively, like brute beasts. In those things they corrupt themselves. So that's to you people who want to argue the case. Oh, well, no, it's a righteous title. No, it is not. I have brought forth mountains of evidence that proves that it's not. It's not. It's not a righteous title. It never was. It never will be. And we don't have no business referring to the Most High with those terms and titles, which are all generic. What is generic? It's not concentrated. Concentrated means it's the most potent. When you make something generic, you're watering it down. No, we don't have the room to water anything down at this time. We don't have the time. We can see the signs. We don't have the time to water it down and to make it palatable for people, who don't know. No, the key is to familiarize them with the true law and the prophets. This is the key. Or else how would they know? And if nobody's out here teaching and preaching it, then they definitely not going to know. But here I am. For your sake, not for mine. I don't do this because I get a kick out of it. No. No. If it was up to me, I would never turn on the camera. I would just post all day. But I know that's not gonna reach everyone. So, it's very important to distinguish these things and set these things apart. Because when we do, then we can get to a place where we can meet the Most High, where He is, and understand Him for who He is. This message is paramount, especially due to the fact that at sundown tonight, we're going into Pasach. We're going into Passover, which is a representation of us coming out of Egypt, which this is the second Egypt. Okay? And we are going to be leaving this land soon. We are going to be leaving this land and all the lands that we have been scattered to. So the thing is to get where you need to be with the Most High right now, before we get taken out of the lands of our captivity and you don't get to go into the promised land. As it says in Isaiah, what is it? Ezekiel, or what they call Ezekiel, in chapter 20, verse 35 through 38, which we've covered before. So it's very imperative, it's very important that you hear me. You hear what I'm saying, you hear what the Spirit is saying to you. Because it's not me. If it was up to me, I would never do what I'm doing right now. I don't even like being in front of the camera. Notice I don't really take pictures of myself. I can show you my phone. I'll really take no pictures of myself. It's very rare when I take a picture of myself. I'm not a photogenic type of person. I don't like being in front of cameras. And that's funny because I once aspired to be a rapper and on stage, and I would have to be in front of cameras. I don't know how that would work out. I don't know how that would have worked out, right? But obviously the Most High had different plans for me. And the plans for me include you. Because Guess what? This is not for my learning. I've already learned it. This is for your learning. This is so you can understand. Let's go back. Let's go back. Look at Romans 8. 17 through 15. Actually, no. That's Acts. Excuse me. That's Acts 17. 17. Let's go back and look at it one more again before we get up out of this room. Okay. Then Shawwal, 22, 17, Acts 22. Then Shawwal stood in the middle of Mars Hill and said, Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are given to religious observances in the worship of your gods, Allahayam, which we know now that that word means demons. It's interchangeable. We can't get around that. Then says what? Then he says what? He says, for I passed by, carefully observing the objects of worship. I also came upon an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God. That then is what you ignorantly worship, having no understanding. This I announce to you, Yahweh, who made the world and all things in it, being the creator of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made by hands. All right, now watch this. Because that's the exact same thing our king said. The very same thing the king said. Watch. And we're gonna close with this. Watch this. This is what the king said to the Sumerian woman, which is Samaritan, not Sumerian, Samaritan. Samaritans are Hebrews. They're not Israelites, but they're Hebrews, nonetheless. So let's see what it said. Let's see what he says to this woman. Then Yahweh Shah said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour comes when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain, this is a physical mountain, nor in Yerushalayim or Jerusalem. But the hour come, you do not know what you worship. We know what we worship. For salvation is from the Yahweh Dayam. It's from the Hebrew Israelites. It's from us. And the reason why he was talking to this Samaritan lady, because she was a Hebrew. No, all Hebrews are not Israelites. But all Israelites are Hebrews. Let that sink in. Let me say it again. Let me rewind it back and say it again. All Hebrews are not Israelites. But the Israelites are Hebrews. So we're going to close with this because I want you to chew on that. I want you to chew on that, on this Pasach. I want this to be a part of your Pasach meal as you partake in the commemoration of us leaving from Egypt in the time of our forefathers, in the time of Masha. I want to leave you with that. I love you. I love you dearly. Words can't express how much I love you, my people. And I just wish that you would wake up, and I wish that you would hear what the Spirit says and actually take heed. Not just hear, but do. It's about action. It's not just about hearing something. Okay? I love you with the love of the King, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, and may the blessings of Yahweh be upon you, and may he shine his face upon you. Shalom.